We'd like to welcome everybody, whether you're here in the service or you're watching us online. Guess what? I've got news. You're being called. Each and every one of you. If you're walking in this building or you're watching us online, you are being called. And you know what it's asking you to do? It's asking you to wake up. I don't know if anybody here has watched the news lately, but stuff's getting real. And to me, personally, that excites me. Because it lets me know that it's time for humanity to start waking up. And people that walk into these doors and watch us online are waking up. And we're in the process of doing that. And I would encourage you to listen to that gentle tap on the shoulder or the gentle tap inside of your heart that's telling you, hey, it's time to wake up. That is what's going on here right now, what we're seeing. And while everybody out there wants to tell you to run and hide, what I'm here to tell you, what's really happening is a great awakening, where each and every one of us, not only individually but collectively, is waking up. And we, this family, that not only exists in this building, but also exists out there and beyond it, are all waking up. I'm telling you, every single day, every single hour, I see more and more and more of it. And my encouragement to you is to trust yourself, to trust the process, to trust your own divinity, that it knows exactly what it needs to do to wake up. The only suggestion I have for you is to consider doing it with other people that are on the same page. And that's what we do here. Each in our own way, and it looks different for each and every one of us. Our awakening process is unique unto ourselves, unto what our souls need. But the path is there. You don't have to create anything. You don't have to figure out anything. The only thing you have to do is trust, listen. That's it. Your soul, your spirit, your divinity, God, will take care of the rest of it. And so, for everybody that's here, good morning. Thank you, Mark. In Charles Dickens' classic, Tale of Two Cities, it was the best of times as it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the epic of belief. It was the epic of incredulity. It was a season of light. It was a season of darkness. It was a spring of hope. It was a winter of despair. So here's my question for you. Which one is it? Everything that's going on right now. Everything that's going on right now. It's hard to try to understand and take it all in, isn't it? Isn't that just real? A lot of energy going on right now, lots of stuff. And it's just really interesting, fascinating. For some people, it's really scary, and I get it. I was sitting there watching, and the other day when I was getting prepared for the talk, I sat there and I just said, I'm going to do something which I don't do very much. But I'm just going to look at what the news is saying is going on right now. And I picked one particular thing. Michigan is in the worst part of the coronavirus pandemic to date. All right. Muskegon is in desperate straits as COVID-19 deaths, healthcare worker cases soar. All right. Michigan reports 6,940 new coronavirus cases, 45 new deaths. And then I thought, well, geez, does it get any better nationally? Certainly it can't be this dark, can it? States headed for a lockdown. Again, these are national stories. Vaccine euphoria fades. Can anything stop the spread? 1,893 deaths in one day. And it goes on and on and on. And let me tell you something. I could have picked any topic. I could have picked politics and what's going on with the election. I could have picked the environment. I could have picked what's going on nationally or internet. It didn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. Why doesn't it matter? Because the media only job is to sell and get people's attention and sell viewership. And you know what sells? Fear and hate. That sells. Fear and hate. That's what's going on. I want to remind everybody for just a moment, and the real purpose of the talk today, and talk about something in Unity we call the law of mind action. What is the law of mind action? There's a lot of different ways to define it, but for the sake of the talk, what I'm going to talk about is where your attention goes, energy flows. Where your attention goes, energy flows. Okay? Really, what we're talking about is consciousness. We're talking about consciousness. There's two types of consciousness that we're dealing with. We're dealing with, number one, individual states of consciousness, and we're also dealing with collective or group consciousness. Yes, you have them both. You have them both. Right? Individual consciousness, stuff like your health, your finances, your relationships, and about situations. Every single one of those things you've got a consciousness about. And if I were to sit down and have a conversation with you and ask you what's going on in any of those areas, you would tell me a story about what's happening, and I could come pretty close to telling you where your consciousness is about them. And then we talk about collective consciousness, right? Collective consciousness. For example, groups. Unity Center for Spiritual Growth has a consciousness. We have a consciousness in these four walls. It's actually bigger than these four walls, but I'm just telling you, this church has a consciousness. It does. And guess what? You're part of it. You're part of the consciousness of this church. You are. Each and every one of you is part of this thing. The country, and I just brought up the example of the election. I could have picked anything, but I used the country. We have a consciousness in this country, and you are contributing to it. Each and every one of us is contributing to that consciousness. The world. Another example I give is the environment. What's going on with the environment? Is it good? Is it bad? Is there global warming? Is there not global warming? Where are we at with that whole thing? But what I'm saying is, you are putting energy towards each and every one of these things, and you are adding to consciousness. Or a situation, COVID-19. And I find it so interesting, the belief systems around COVID-19. Blows my mind. And they're all different. In fact, in my opinion, COVID-19 has become the new religion of the day. Because we know, no, Mike, I know what's going on with COVID. I know. And if I talk to each and every one of you would have a different opinion. I can promise you that because I've talked to a bunch of you about it. It fascinates me. Belief systems fascinate me. Consciousness fascinates me. So here's my question for you. When we talk about consciousness, where is your attention going? What does your consciousness look like regarding these different things? Just curious. Every day, we are making energetic deposits that impacts current and future events. That's because we are that powerful. That's because you are divine. That is because your true being, who you really are, is a powerful creator. Somewhere along the lines, we forgot that. Somewhere along the lines, we were told that what we think doesn't really matter. And a lot of us bought that for a while. Some of us, thank God, are waking up. And some of us are starting to stand into our power and understanding that our thoughts do create things, and we better be careful with where those thoughts are going. More now than ever before. More now than ever before. So here's my question for you. What types of deposits are you making? What are you talking about, Mike? No, I'm asking you, what kind of deposits are you making into every single thing that's going on, not only in your personal life, but as a collective consciousness? What kind of deposits are you making? Are you making deposits of faith, or are you making deposits of fear? Are you making deposits of hope, or are you making deposits of despair? Are you making deposits of love, or are you making deposits of hate? Are you making deposits of forgiveness, or are you making deposits of condemnation? Here's what I want to assure you. You are making deposits every single day. Now, you can do that unconsciously and pick up a newspaper or watch the television, and then you're going to start depositing that kind of energy if you want. Or you can actually do something a little bit different, which I'm hoping we'll think about. And we're going to play with that in just a minute, right? Here's the thing. So you are either adding to the current consciousness, or I would say the current problem of what's going on, or you're adding to the solution. People, wake up. This is really happening. Like really, you are really doing it. Each and every day, by what you're thinking, you're putting this energy towards these things. And what I'm hoping you get from this talk is that you matter. Your energy matters. We matter in terms of where our energy is going. We can make a difference in what's happening, what's showing up, not only today, but in the future. You've got that kind of power. You really do. Not only in your own life, but even from a collective consciousness standpoint, you really do have that kind of power. It's what all the masters have said. It's what the Fillmores said. It's what Jesus said. It's what they've been saying throughout all humanity, all time. The great truth speakers, the great truth teachers have all told us the same thing. You are one with the divine. You are that powerful. And that message has been watered down so much to keep us small. And keep us thinking that there's nothing we can do about it. And keep us thinking that we just have to go along with whatever's going on. And there's nothing I can do about it. What can I do about it? Let me tell you something. More than you've ever dreamed possible. More than you've ever dreamed possible. Here's the thing, though. You can either add to the problem or you can add to the solution, but you can't do both. You can't. So you got a choice. You've got a choice. So what I want to do for just a moment is have us go through a little bit of an exercise. Mark, if you could start playing the music. And I'm going to have you get quiet for just a moment. I always find it helpful just to maybe take a deep breath in, let it out, and take another deep breath in, let it out, and just begin to relax. Become present. Be here now. Get inside your body. Once again, just relaxing, connecting with yourself, becoming still. And now what I'm going to do is take you on a little bit of a journey where you're going to be an observer. You're not going to judge anything. You're just going to observe it. I want you to imagine your life. I want you to imagine everything that's going on right now. I want you to look at your relationships that you have, the ones that are important to you. Just think about what kind of energy you're putting towards those. There's no judgment, none. Then maybe take a look at maybe your finances. What kind of energy are you putting towards that? What kind of deposits are you making energetically? Does it make you happy? Make you sad? Just observe. Maybe look at your health. How's your health doing? You feeling good? Or not so much? What kind of deposits are you making towards your health? And then I want you to look at the rest of what's going on in your personal life, maybe situations that are coming up, maybe ones that have your attention, even some that aren't necessarily fun. And I just want you to observe where your attention's going. And what kind of deposits are you making? Are you making deposits of faith or of fear? Deposits of love, deposits of hate. Again, there's no judgment. Just observe. And maybe just spend another few minutes on different things that are going on in your life right now that has your attention. And just observe them. Gently, lovingly, compassionately. Observe where your attention is going. Maybe you're excited. Maybe you're sad. All of it's just perfect. And now what I want you to do is take a bigger perspective. I want you to think about things that are going on right now. Some of the things we just mentioned. I want you to think about, for example, COVID-19. What's there for you? Just observe. And then I'm going to bring up the election. It's okay to laugh. But just see what comes up for you. And I want you to think of any other issues going on right now in terms of any collective that you've got going on in your life. They could be here at the church. They could be at work. They could be regarding other organizations that you belong to. Any organizations you read about. And just see where or what kind of deposits you're making. How you're contributing to the consciousness of these different groups. How are you showing up? Just observe. And then when you're ready, you can start to come back into your body. You can start to wiggle your toes, wiggle your hands, and you can open your eyes. And welcome back. How'd that go? Interesting. Yeah. Any realizations? Yeah? Anybody want to share? All is good. Beautiful. Anybody else? Peaceful. Mm-hmm. If I didn't know better, I'd think I was at Unity. Right? Anybody have ones that surprised them? Anybody have a realization? Oh my goodness, what am I doing? I did. So here's the question. What can we do about it? I mean, all the stuff that's going on in our lives, all the stuff that's going on collectively, what can we do about it? Is there anything we can do about it? And there's really one simple answer. Of course we can. Of course we can. But you have to understand one thing. In order to change anything, we must look at it differently than we currently are. You got to look at it differently. Fortunately, there's been some people that have become before us, and actually are alive now, that are beautiful reminders of some different options that we have instead of just going along and pretending like there's nothing we can do about it and we're all just a bunch of victims. Here's a little plug for Bill Bussey's spirit group. Myrtle, How to Let God Help You. Here's what Myrtle says. Thinking habitually about people, their actions, their human limitations tends to bind one to personal consciousness. To do the great works that Jesus promised his followers would do, one must raise their consciousness to the place where they're able to see a perfect image and likeness of God in all people, in all places, in all situations. In other words, you see it through the eyes of the divine. Yes, you can do that. That was the promise. You can do this. That was the promise. One must not let themselves be influenced by the likes and dislikes of human nature. Let it go. Let it go. Christ is the real self of each individual. Inside of each and every one of you, what I would say is inside of each and every situation that's going on, there is the divine. It's there, waiting to be woken up. Just like it's waiting to be woken up inside of you, each situation that's going on out there is waiting to be woken up. But it can't happen until, guess what? You and I start to acknowledge that's what's going on. Because when you look at something and you say there's no way the divine can be in that, guess what happens? It can't change. And it stays the same way over and over and over and over and over and over again. Nothing changes. God's not there, therefore it can't be changed. Because whatever it is so much more powerful than divinity? Please. But that's what we're telling ourselves, and that's what we've agreed to as a consciousness. We've agreed to the stuff that's going on out there because we look at it and go, yeah, it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. Nothing. And guess what? You're so powerful, that's exactly what you get. Nothing. You get nothing. By seeing only the Christ in all people, we not only strengthen our own spiritual consciousness, but we help all whom we contact to realize and express their innate divinity. Question: do you want to keep people stuck and help them stay stuck where they're at, not only individually, but also from a collective standpoint? Or do you want to be a part of the team that stands over here and goes, you know what? No matter what's going on, there's God. Everybody that's in here has the opportunity to stand right here and go, I'm divine, you're divine, whatever's going out there is divine, and I'm going to call on it, and I'm going to be a part of the team, I'm going to be a part of the consciousness that actually changes not only my own life with what's going on, but everything else that's going on there. That's the kind of power that we have. That's the kind of power that we have within us. To not only change our own lives, but then also impact what's going on this planet right now, which, if you're happy with, then just keep agreeing with everything that the newspapers and the media are telling you out there. If you like that, keep reading that garbage. But Mike, you don't understand. I gotta know what's going on. Then keep doing it. Keep reading that garbage. If you want to make a difference, not only in your own life, but what's going on outside these four doors, what's going on this planet, what's going on in this country, if you want to make a difference, decide that you can stand over here and there's something you can do about it. And it looks a lot different than what most people are doing or are even aware of. That's true. That's true. Ernest Holmes from Science of Mind. Therefore, it is imperative that we turn from the relative, what's going on out there, what everybody's telling us to pay attention to, because to view the limitations is to impress it upon the mind. It's to further cement what's going on inside of your mind and to accentuate the state of consciousness which produces it. What, huh? What's he saying? To view the limitation is to impress upon the mind and to accentuate the state of consciousness which produces it. So in other words, to continuously focus on it continuously keeps you stuck. It keeps you stuck. Do you want to stay stuck? Do you want this country to stay stuck? Do you want this world to stay stuck? Then keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. There is another choice, though. There is another way. For all you Paul Selig fans out there, his book, Realization, I love Paul Selig, huge fan, huge fan. I'm going to share with you some thoughts. Now, the term Christ, again, is not the Jesus figure, but the installation of the divine seed that is you, as it flowers as you. As the Christ itself becomes manifest, it calls to it what exists in lower frequency for the purpose of revelation and then reconciliation with its source. So what does that mean? It means you're standing in your divinity. You see something that shows up that maybe not look all that great, and it's being there to be elevated, to be resurrected By who? By who? You. Yes, you. That's what's going on. Nothing will be known as holy until it is perceived as such. I'm going to read that again. Nothing will be known as holy until it is first perceived as such. In other words, the only way that we can change things is when we finally start to see everything, every person, every place, everything is holy. But Mike, how can you look at what's going on in the world right now and call it holy? It's really easy. I may not understand it on this physical planet with my physical brain, but what I do know is that God is out there in every single thing that is going on. And the only way that it's going to change is for me to acknowledge the divinity that's going on within it. Then I can raise that vibration. Then we have the potential to change it, not only individually, but collectively. That's how it works. And the perceiver, the divine, is you who bears witness to the divine as you see it, renders a new revelation in whatever you encounter. It changes. It changes. You become the manifestation of truth that reclaims the alignment to the divinity in the manifest world. The days of fearing others, of blaming the self, the days of shame and fury will be ended. And the being that you are, in your divinity, in your encounter with the world, is being made new with celebration. Now, some of you wish to have a map of the future. Will humanity kill itself? Will it survive? Will the fighting on the planet cease, or will it continue? We will have a say about that. In some ways, where you view the world from informs the world. Where you view the world from informs the world. Oh, but Mike, it's just me. I mean, if I read the newspaper a little bit and I focus on everything bad that's going on, it's just me. Yeah, you. A divine human being. A powerful, powerful, powerful creator. Just you is informing the world with your consciousness when you pay attention to this garbage. That's what's happening. Imagine there's a window on everything that you see. The one who views the world from a high window can lift the world to it. You lift the world. And it can be met in a new sight. In the visage of the world, you may claim. The opportunity now is to claim the world into being in the high octave or the divinity that you are. And if enough of us will do that, that will be the manifestation. That's it. But for this time, we say how you imprint consciousness on what you see claims what you see in a higher octave. If you wish to be in fear about the events of the world, pat yourself on the back for claiming fear and don't complain about being frightened. I love that. It's your choice to fear. But you know what? You don't have to. I don't care what anybody out there or anything out there is telling you. You do not have to live in fear. You don't. You don't have to live in fear. If you don't want to. You're that powerful. You are that powerful. Now, the world would tell you that you need to be fearful and you need to acquiesce to that. Isn't everybody telling us we need to be scared to death of COVID-19? That, oh my God, if I walk out that door, I don't know, somehow I'm going to get it and wind up and all, right? Be afraid. Be afraid. Look at all the cases. Everything's going on. Look at everything's, the vaccine's not going to work and everybody's going to die. And before you know it, enough. Enough. I don't live in fear. I don't. It's not that I'm not careful. It's not that I don't social distance. I wear the masks. I wash my hands. I do what I can. I do not live in fear, especially when it comes to COVID-19. Doesn't mean I'm reckless. Doesn't mean I'm irresponsible. Doesn't mean I try to do everything I can to take care of myself. That's not what it means. So I want to be really clear with that before somebody runs out here and says, Mike says, don't worry about COVID-19. It's not what I'm saying. It's not what I'm saying. Now, the world would tell you that you need to be fearful and that you acquiesce to it. You join the throngs looking to fight, looking to yield, to conquer, to know itself in the old paradigm that has been claimed as war. To align to peace simply requires you to know that peace is there, and in that awareness, you become the emissary of peace. How many people would rather be an emissary of peace? Can I see your hands? Thank you. Thank you. And that's what I really believe that we're doing here. When you walk in these doors and you actually get what unity is all about, and you get specifically what's going on here, you understand that what we do here is we work on our own consciousness. We work on understanding the message that Jesus told us 2,000 years ago, which was wake up. What I would say is that message is becoming louder and clearer than ever before. As I stand up here, I'm getting stronger and stronger, and I'm going to tell you every single week that I'm up here, wake up. Do your work. Yes, it takes effort. You have to do your work. This isn't, God's not going to come down here and somebody's going to wave a magic wand and you are going to magically get better. That is not the way it works for 99.99999% of us. Are there miraculous healings? Of course there are. I'm not denying that. But by far, the majority of it, my life, the way it's worked is, nothing changed until I rolled up my sleeves and started doing my own work. That's when things started changing. And I would bet that if I sat down and talked to each and every one of you, you would probably all tell me the same thing. When I did the work that I knew I needed to do, then all of a sudden things started changing in my life. But you know what? When I didn't do very much work, nothing happened. Nothing changed. It's kind of the way it works. Why? Because you don't want it being given to you on a silver platter. You want to take your power back. In order to take your power back, you need to do the work so that you understand how you function. How this divinity thing works within you. That's what you do. And by doing that, you take your power back. And then you stand in your divinity. And then you can do whatever you want to do. Because now all of a sudden you realize, wow, look what I'm able to do. I really am divine. Wow, I really can change what's going on in my life. Wow, I really can make a difference, not only with the people around me, but I can actually make an impact in the world and the human consciousness that's going on. So here's my question. What kind of consciousness do you want going on? What kind of consciousness? What kind of deposits do you want to make into these new thoughts, these new ideas with that understanding? So what we're going to do is we're going to play a little game. We're going to play a little game. We're going to go back into the meditation, and I'm going to have you do something maybe a little bit differently than the way that you first did it. So I just want us to sit back in, take a deep breath in, let it out. Take a deep breath in. Let it out. Become present. Once again, connect with yourself, connect with your soul, connect with God. Just be present. And once again, I'm going to take you on a little journey. Only this time, before we go on this journey, I'm going to challenge you to see things a little bit differently. I want you to imagine the way that you look at everything impacts everything. And when you think of something, understand that energy is changing it. You're that powerful. We are that powerful. And so now, as you begin to take a look at your own life, maybe some of the things we looked at before, look at them through the eyes of the Christ. And see how they look different. Maybe adding some love. Maybe adding some faith. Maybe adding some forgiveness. Maybe having a completely new vision on the way this thing could look. Remember, you are that powerful. And the way that you look at things is changing everything. Stand into your power. Stand into your knowingness. Stand into your understanding of who and what you are. You are the divine. No longer playing small. Accepting your divinity. Realizing that the way you look at things impacts them. So continue looking. Look at stuff that's going on in your own life. How would you look at them differently? And then start looking at things at a bigger picture from the collective consciousness. How would you look at them differently? How would you choose to see something like COVID-19? Do you want to see a cure come into it? Vaccine, maybe? That it's gone? Or that its impact is very little? Or maybe something bigger, maybe something better. Look at these different things we talked about. Through a different set of eyes, through a different set of lenses. Acknowledge that God is in every single one of these things. And by doing it that way, you are lifting it vibrationally to change it. You are that powerful. We are that powerful. Keep looking around. Do a full 360, not only in your life, but collectively. Is there anything in there that you want to look at a little bit differently? With this new awareness, with this new understanding. And now, as you start to wrap things up, maybe say thank you. Thank you to yourself. Thank you to Spirit. Start to come back to this present moment in your body. Wiggle your hands, your toes. Open your eyes. A little bit different? Yeah, a little bit different. I can tell you, standing up here energetically, it's different. I'm just telling you, I can feel it. I say this in order to change things, it's going to take a village, as the old saying goes. When I say that, I mean it not only individually, right? Because isn't there times when we stumble? Isn't there times when we fall? Isn't there times when it gets to be a bit much? And isn't it nice to have somebody here that you can reach out to and talk to about it? Yeah. I also say that collectively when I think about everything that's going on in this planet and the changes that we're going through. It's going to take a village. We need you. We need you. I want you standing over here. I want you standing in that place where you're acknowledging your own divinity and you're also looking at everything that's going on through the eyes of the Christ, which sees the perfection because it knows that the divine is there, even if it doesn't understand it. It's okay. We don't have to understand it from these human terms. It's not like we have to agree to it. Not saying that either. But we acknowledge the divinity that's within it each and every moment, each and every situation that's going on, because when we do that, then all of a sudden we have the ability to change it and shift it. And that's what it's all about. So in closing, affirmations help. Let's say these together. I may see anything and everything in a higher way. I may know anything and everything in a higher way. I may choose anything and everything in a higher way. I want to share with you in closing a prayer from my friend John Davis from the Coptic Center. And I'm going to put this on the screen, but I don't want you guys to repeat it with me. I'm just going to have you close your eyes. I'm putting this up there in case anybody online wants to take a screenshot. And if anybody else wants this, I'm going to have Joan send this out so that you can use it. But I think it's a beautiful prayer to share from a collective consciousness standpoint and the way I want to end the service. Here's the prayer if you want to bow your heads. Almighty Mother, Father, God, we come here today and affirm the following. We affirm healings on all levels, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, in all families, in all hospitals and health centers, in all doctors' offices, psychologists' offices, in AA meetings, in addiction counseling sessions, and everywhere else where healing is needed and desired. We affirm that all politicians choose peace in all circumstances, bring the Ten Commandments to national and international expression. We affirm that all of humanity remember that all children worldwide are symbolically our children, and all people are our brothers and sisters. We affirm that women everywhere are empowered and experience equality with men. All men and women are created equal. We affirm that all slavery is eliminated from planet Earth. We affirm the governmental laws be for the benefit of the people, by the people, for the people. We affirm the hungry will be fed, the homeless will find homes, the sick and the injured will be healed. We affirm that all nations share their nation's natural resources with their people and each other. We affirm that all religious and spiritual leaders pray daily for all good to manifest on earth, and they continuously seek the manifestation of the peaceful coexistence and cooperation of all religions and all people. We affirm that businesses succeed in all nations, and as a result of national and international business success, everyone, everywhere, find meaningful, creative, life and sustaining work. We affirm that the worldwide economy becomes the most successful and stable in the history of the planet. And with that, my friends, I just want you to know how much I love you. I want you to know how much I believe in you. I acknowledge the divinity in each and every one of you. And I always will. Because I'll never forget who you are. And my hope and prayer for you is that you never forget who and what you are. God bless.